Hello and welcome to this second look exploring session, looking at the interlude of the virtuous and godly Queen Hester, a play from around 1525-ish, somewhere in the 1520s. So we are deep into the reign of Henry VIII. Haven't been this far back for a while. Other plays from this period include Callisto and Melleby, Witty and Witless, and pretty much everything by John Hayward. That's pretty much everything there. And also the Christ Burial, Christ Resurrection. That's one we haven't done. Those are ones we haven't done for a while. They were rather fab. And the really weird John the Evangelist. So anyone looking for some performance context, those are the sort of texts that survive from the 1520s. But we don't have all that much outside of, say, the writing of John Hayward, but we do have this, the interlude of the virtuous and godly Queen Hester. We have done a first look exploring session, staggering through this, stopping and starting, having a little discussion about it as we go. This time we are going to crash through it at pace and see how it all lands at the end. We've got some people with some very silly names. We have various attacks on Jewish populations, which will be rebuffed. So content warning there. Some people are not going to say very nice things. The staging for this is one of those unusual elements of in the sense possibly nobody really exits, they just go to somewhere slightly different in the performance space. We're at this point in history before people build theatres with fixed entry and entrance points. People just make it up depending on where they are and what works best, and that's what this author has done. To go through the play at pace, finding out how it all functions, we have reading today. Hester, or Esther, depending on your point of view, is...
Briony Sparrow, actor in Lincolnshire.
Reading the King, King Assuerus, is...
Aliki, Chapple, actor and translator in the north of England.
Reading the Prologue, Pride and Third Jew, is...
Helen Good, historian in Hull.
Reading Mardocheus is...
Alan Scott, confused in Suffolk.
Reading Third Gentleman and Hardydardy is...
Hi, I'm Eric, and I'm in undisclosed location, coming to you live. Well, I don't know. I mean, this is recorded, so wait, maybe
not. Reading Aman is...
Hello, Dan, actor based in Montpellier, France.
Reading Pursuivant, Adulation, and Arbona is...
Hi, my name's Elizabeth Amisu, and I'm an author based in Romford.
And reading Second Gentleman, Second Jew, and Scribe is...
Rachel Moles. I'm temporarily resident in the north of Italy, so joining from there.
And reading First Gentleman, Ambition, and First Jew is...
Hello, I'm Lynn Freitas. I'm a teacher. I live in the northwestern United States.
And I am your host. Yeah, I've done everyone, haven't I? Yes. I am your host, Robert Crighton. I will be reading nothing at all. There are no stage directions for me to I'm going to just disappear and leave everybody to it. And we'll see you on the other side when the text is all complete, as we come up with some thoughts and responses to the text as it goes. Hopefully there are no, we have ironed out in the first look sessions any typos or errors, but there's always still some possibility that we will go careering into something that should not be said or shouldn't be said precisely as it is, but hopefully everything will go smoothly, and we're going to find out how Godly Queen Hester functions. Before the prologue, we have in the printed text, "Come near, virtuous maidens and womankind. Here you may learn of Hester's duty. In all comeliness of virtue you shall find how to behave yourselves in humility." And with that, take it away, prologue.
Divers philosophers, ancient and sage, their clergy and cunning put into practice, oft have disputed by learning and language to whom greatest honour men ought to demise, or for what cause high reverence should arise. And amongst many, some were there doubtless that concluded honour due unto riches, some also to noble blood and high parage, affirmed honour duly to pertain, and some to policy and wisdom sage, and some to power and superior reign. Each man his reason said certain. Over this some said that virtuous demeanour to be excellent and of most honour.
Of these, my lords, we would be glad to hear which is most worthy honour to attain. By your high reasons, we think it may appear. To speak, therefore, we pray you, your sentences plain, and as ye determine, so shall we certain advance to honour, and to promotion apply always the best, and that be most worthy.
Most dread sovereign, King Assuerus, to your doughty, weighty, and assured, of riches, power, wisdom, virtue, or noble blood, which is the most sovereign and of highest honor? Meseems as virtue none can be so good, not riches, nor power, wisdom, nor gentle blood. For where virtue faileth, the other be not sure, but full unstable, and long cannot endure. Whoso will labor stories to peruse, and them with diligence often will read, may see and perceive how vice did confuse many noble princes, which were indeed of such magnificence that we not need to doubt of their riches, power, and wisdom, and yet for lack of virtue, vice them overcame.
Nabucodonosor, Sennacherib, and Salmanazar, Nero, Diocletian, Maxentius also, all these princes of high honour were, of riches, power, and wisdom, also of noble blood, yet these and many more, for lack of virtue to vice did fall, to their own destruction and their subjects all.
But then, as meseemeth it were expedient among all virtues appertaining to a prince, that same to know by some reason urgent, which is so necessary to the province that without it in no wise he can convince neither sin nor sinners that unjustly deal, nor in good order keep his commonweal.
In mine opinion, that is justice, a virtue as excellent as may be. For all things it ordereth in such wise that where it is peace and tranquility, good order, high honor, wealth, and plenty. And where it faileth in the prince or king, the commonwealth decayeth without tarrying.
Beside justice, there must be diligence, in his own person that same to put in use. Or else sometime such coloured sentence under cloak of justice, ye may be sure craftily shall proceed from them that have the cure, which in process may bring to downfall the king, his realm, and subjects all. The judgment of Solomon in his own person, between two women of living unchaste, so feared Israel that utterly none durst once rebel, but they thought it waste in any wise to attempt either first or last anything of displeasure to his majesty royal, fearing his wisdom and justice so equal.
If by his lieutenant he had done the same, his honour should never have sprung so far, nor not so much renowned by noble fame as it is now, and both here and there, nor yet his subjects to such awe and fear he could have driven by no means at all as he did by his justice personal. And over this, many a noble man at the prince's will and commandment to employ justice did the best they can. And yet the commons unneth could be content. And why? For in their mind they think veriment that either for riches and honor justice will do, and he only for the zeal that to justice he hath too. Wherefore, noble prince, if in your own person will you employ justice, the more your honor shall be.
My lords, we thank you for your counsel. As ye have said, so think we, verily, that justice maintaineth the common weal, and, namely, the prince must needs himself apply unto the same, or else utterly shall follow decay by war or else death, quoque si princeps malus populus corruet. And over this, if that his lieutenant shall happen to square from truth and justice, Albeit his fair words and good semblant, the prince must needs be circumspect and wise, that no ambition nor covetise through great wealth and riches inordinate do erect his courage, for to play checkmate. For though it be as well as it may need, it shall be thought, nay, I assure you, indeed. Sir, what is your name and progeny?
I am Aman, son of Amidafi, of the stock of Agag, born in Italy.
Your learning and reason pleaseth us well, and ye seem to be of discretion. We bear ye therefore our favour and zeal, so that, without means of intercession, we make you our chancellor. Take heed to this lesson. See ye do justice and truth ever approve, or to your destruction we shall soon you remove.
My duty is more now than ever it was, truly to serve your most noble grace, both night and day, here and in every place.
My lords, as now thus stands the case, we are comfortless for lack of a queen, which should be our joy and chief solace, and to say truth, it hath not been oft seen, but the prince with a princess matched hath been, lest default of issue should be, which God defend. Therefore, your counsels first had, to marry we do intend.
Then let your officers peruse this realm, and of fair maidens that be virgins pure, of most goodly personages that may be seen, gather a great number, that we may make report unto your grace. Then may ye be sure to choose the best, when ye have them seen, and that is fittest to be your queen.
Call to us Aman, our trusty chancellor.
It pleased your grace, I am here.
Aman, this is the counsel of my lords all, that our officers in haste we should send to peruse this region universal from the beginning unto the end, to seek fair maidens, whereso they may be kenned, and of most goodly personages that may be seen, to the intent among them we may choose a queen. This is our mind, more to speak it shall not need, in all that ye may see it be done indeed.
I am Mardocheus, born in Jerusalem, the son of Jair, and the stock of Benjamin, by Nabuchodonosor brought into this realm when he did subdue our king Chericoni, and translated the Jews by conquest and victory. Both I and other, in number many one, were brought in captivity into the realm of Babylon. I have here a maiden of the same nation, my brother's daughter, named Edissa, but Hester is her common denomination, and by that well-known name Amisu. God grant her peace, grace, that persevere she may, in wisdom and womanhead faithful to be, her espoused to love in perfect amity. So is it now our king assure us, divers Pursuivants in great haste hath sent over all his realm in these parties near us, to seek fair maidens is his intent, to choose amongst them one convenient, to be his queen and lady sovereign, in love and honour with him for to reign. And forasmuch, daughter Hester, that you, among other, are appointed for one, I think it according, therefore now, to give you mine advice and instruction. Attend ye, therefore, without interruption, and by faithful mind and steadfast memory, that I shall say, learn it diligently.
Noble Mardocheus, my father most kind, to that ye shall say, I will apply my mind.
Then if the king choose you to his queen, it is of goodness, bounty, and grace, and none for your merits the truth to be seen. Therefore to him repay must you needs obedience, true love and kindness above persons all, not forged nor feigned, but with affection cordial. Break not the course that queens have had in this noble region most part of all, they have aye been good, and none of them bad. To their prince ever sure, just and substantial, and good to the commons when they did call, like meekness for mercy, to temper the fire of rigorous justice, in fume or in ire.
This counsel is perfect, and also so pure. I grant it, therefore, and promise you sure, it is my whole mind and hearty desire that same to fulfil, as reason shall require.
I have here of maidens a fair company, of comely stature and goodly visage, which to the king I think by and by for to present, and to his council sage, for their promotion, wealth, and marriage. Save before, with Mardocheus the Jew, I must speak for Hester, that is so fair of hue.
She is here, ready, and doth attend the king's commandment to fulfil, and at your pleasure forth shall she wend, without resistance, and by her good will.
Then shall I bring her the king until. Come on, Lady Hester, and follow me. To the king shall ye go with your company.
Sir Pursuivant, have ye these maidens brought for the king, like as ye had in commandment?
Yea, sir, and for them far have I sought, both in village, town, and tenement. I trust I have done true service and diligent.
So are ye bound by very duty of your allegiance and fidelity. See that ye follow us with your whole company.
As ye have said, so shall it be.
Pleaseth it your grace. According your mind, we have made search all your region for goodly maidens of nature fine and kind, and of them have found, in mine opinion, a number right fair and of complexion, so pure and of so fair visage that they surmount all other in personage.
Are they also of such competent age, of such demeanour and gravity, that they be fit for our marriage?
Upon a proof, your grace shall hear and see as well their wisdom as their beauty.
Certes, they be fair and goodly, each one, and as it may seem by their first countenance, both by look and gesture, nature and complexion, in them should be kindness, mirth, and dalliance, wisdom, sadness, and in love, perseverance, constancy, knit with comeliness, joy to increase, virtue with good demeanour, pleasure to put in press. But ye, fair damsel, of the highest stature and of most ripe age, as should seem of all this company, of most finest nature, tell us your lineage, for as yet we deem your looks be so lusty and in love so bream, that if that your demeanour hereafter be seen to that according, ye shall be our queen.
Most noble prince, as for my lineage, nor yet my country, certes I cannot say. My parents deceased in my nonage, so that I never heard yet unto this day what coast or country, what land or lay I was bred in, brought forth, or born. It is to me unknown, as I have been beforn. Notwithstanding, I have had food and fostering of Mardocheus all my life, whom I called father in my young age, and so intend to do eftsoons and always, whom for his friendship I have good cause to praise, beseeching your grace, and that most meekly, to my said foster father, good lord for to be.
Call in Mardocheus, that we may see his face.
I am here to attend upon your grace.
Mardocheus, what call you your daughter?
If it please your grace, her name is Hester. Assuring you, she is a virgin pure, a pearl undented, and of conscience clear, sober, sad, gentle, meek, and demure, in learning and literature profoundly seen, in wisdom eke semblance to Saba the queen, fit for any prince to have in marriage, if his pleasure agree to her personage.
Ye say right well. Then we think it expedient, somewhat, to prove by communication her learning, and her language eloquent, and by some problem of high dubitation to know her answer and consultation. How say you, Hester? Have you aught read or seen of virtues that be best and fittest for a queen?
To speak before a king, it is no child's play. Therefore, I ask pardon of that I shall say.
We pardon you whatsoever you say.
Then, to be bold, right well I may. No queen there is but by marriage of a prince, and under covert, according to the law, so that the jurisdiction of this whole province to the king pertaineth, that this is the true saw. Albeit sometime more for love than for awe, the king is content to be counselled by the queen in many sundry causes, as oft hath been seen, which sentence is sure and grounded with reason, but yet, notwithstanding, this is not all, but eftsoons it may chance at sundry season, the king with his counsel, most part of all, from this realm to be absent when war doth call. Then the queen's wisdom sadly must deal by her great virtue to rule the commonweal. Therefore, as many virtues be there must, even in the queen as in the prince, for fear lest in war some treason unjust the realm should subdue and falsely convince. The queen must safeguard all the whole province, and so as much goodness must be seen as in the king to be in the queen. And how many virtues long to a king, like unto your grace, I cannot make reckoning.
Then I doubt not, but the wisdom of us two knit both together in perfect charity, all things in this realm shall compass so by truth and justice, law and equity, that we shall quench all vice and deformity.
Then at my beginning I beseech your grace, that I may show my mind while I have time and space.
Speak at your liberty. I will hear it gladly.
Then I will be plain, for verity and for a principle of this my tale hath no peer, and eke his subjects, both great and small, in honour and wealth, yea, all the province, so rich and so strong that they may convince all their enemies wheresoe'er they dwell, that would invade, resist, or rebel, and where God's service and hospitality doth decay, and alms to the poor, there may be wealth in places 2 or 3, but I assure you the most part in general neither have meat nor money nor strength substantial, fit to do you service when ye have need, which is no good order, methinks, in very deed. Let God alway, therefore, have his part, and the poor fed by hospitality, each man his measure, be it pint or quart, and no man too much, for that is great jeopardy, a mean to lose all, as I do fear me, for when all is gathered together on a heap, it may soon be conveyed, carriage is good cheap. This I speak with true heart and mind, beseeching your grace to take it in good kind.
Of these matters another time, more at large we shall speak, and of divers other more. Aman, see our servants to accomplish their charge to wait upon our queen, and that also in haste unto our wardrobe see you go for rich apparel of gold and pall, as well for herself as for her ladies all.
Then if it please you to license the queen, as to her pleasure a while shall be seen.
And we for a season this business will cease, and ourselves repose, for our pleasure and ease.
To men that be heavy and fain would be merry, though they feel smart, of chance such reckoning that with their mouth they sing, though they weep in their heart. Sometime they dance with merry countenance when they had lever sleep, eke they laugh and grin when by the sun I ween, in the heart they weep. Whoso will accord with this double world must use such arts outwardly kind, in his heart a fiend, a knave of two parts. Outward honesty, inward infidelity, both rides on a mule. In peace he is bold, but in war he is cold. The soonest will recoil. Many that proffers, but few that offers devoutly in their heart. They say they can do all, but when need doth befall, they begin to start. He that is double loves away trouble, and at no time will cease, and yet he will not fight by day, nor yet by night, in war, nor in peace. But such men by battle may get corn and cattle, bullion and plate, and if once they get it, let us no more crave it. By God, we come too late, either to beg or borrow, except shame or sorrow, displeasure and hate. Sirs, my name is Pride, but I have laid aside all my goodly array. Ye ween I lie there, is cause why that I go not gay. I tell you a word, Aman, that new lord, hath bought up all the good cloth, and hath as many gowns as would serve 10 towns, be never so loath. And any man in the town do buy him a good gown, he is very wroth, and will him straight tell the statute of apparel shall teach him good, whereby by this day I dare not go gay, threadbare is my hood. Pride was wont to be a man of jollity, of high countenance and face, and since Aman reigned, no man him retained, almost in any place. For Aman, that elf, would no man but himself should be proud indeed. For as men say, all pride he taketh away. Well, God send him good speed.
And as for adulation, must change his occupation. It is not worth appease.
Why so?
For my lord Aman doeth all that he can, I assure you without doubt, to take up all flatterers and all crafty clatterers that dwell 40 mile about.
Yea, but the law shall, by order substantial, punish all those.
Yea, I will tell you one thing, law now and flattering, aye, together goes.
Why so?
For all law east and west, and adulation in his chest a man hath locked fast, and by his crafty pattering hath turned law into flattering, so that, first and last, the client must pay or the lawyer assay, the law for to clatter. And when ye ween he said right, I assure you, by this light, he doth not else but flatter.
Why so?
For if a man winks, the lawyer shrinks, and not dare say yea nor nay. And if he speak the law, the other calls him door. No more than dare he say. No more then dare he say. So that was law yesterday, is no law to this day, but flattering lasteth alway, ye may me believe.
Divines that do preach, methinks they should teach, and flattering reprove.
Sir, they have left preaching, and take them to flattering, most part of them all.
I marvel of that.
Do ye marvel? Marry, I will you tell a cause substantial. When they preached, and the truth teached, some of them caught a knock, and they that should assisted, I wot not how they were bristed, but they did nothing but mock, and that saw they, and gat them away as fast as might be. They sold their wool and purchased a bull with a plurality, and left predication and took adulation, and what by mendation and dispensation they gat the nomination of every good benefice. So better by flattering than by preaching, to wealth they did arise, but yet ye must beware.
Whereof?
That they do not swear far beyond the mark, for if it be a good fee, a man saith that longeth to me, be it benefice or park. If he aspire to that promotion, he will straight give him a portion, a lap of 1,000 marks. He shall be purged clean, he shall sing neither treble nor mean, nor yet speak one word.
Is he well seen in adulation?
He is warden of the occupation, without all jesting bored, and no man so hardy, but by his authority, the same to use.
No, for if he do, he were better know, his brains he will confuse.
Why, who art thou?
He that can tell how Aman used to work.
Is not ambition thy name?
Yes, for God the same. I was wont to be a great clerk, but since Aman bear rule, neither horse nor mule, but is as wise as I.
How so?
For all rules and laws were made by fools and daws, he saith verily. Ordinances and foundation, without consideration, he saith were devised. Therefore his imagination brings out all of fashion, and so all is disguised. Sometime, where was plenty, now the barns be empty, and many man lack bread. And where sometimes was meat, there now is none to get, but all be gone and dead. Beggars now do ban and cry out of a man, and ever was he that ever he was born. They swear by the rood, he eateth up all their food, so they can get no good, neither even nor mourn. And many that be poor, though not from door to door, begging they did go, yet they had relief, both bread and beef and drink also. And now the door stands shut, and no man can we get to work, neither to fight. Wherefore, if war should chance, either with Scotland or France, this gear would not go right.
And where is all this become?
As for that Dominus Vobiscum, I dare say nothing, but mum, not till another time.
All this is out of season, and nothing done by reason, nor yet by good rhyme.
How say you, ambition? Have ye not provision for to get promotion, as ye were wont to do?
No, by my halidom, my lord Aman handles all things so that every office and fee, whatsoever it be, that may be seen or found by his wit, he will it fetch, or it falls, he will it catch. It never cometh to the ground. So that I repent that ever I went unto the schools, for his large commission maketh me ambition to dwell among fools.
And is there no remedy?
None that I can spy, while he doth reign.
Let us then make merry, even till we die, and drive away pain.
I heard once a friar as true as a liar as any in the country. He preached veriment that our testament always ready should be.
For at our death we shall lack breath, and then farewell we.
Then, Master Pride, begin this tide, let us hear your fashion.
And ye shall hear next even the plain text of me, Adulation.
Then by and by ye shall hear plainly, without impediment, the tenor of my will, if ye take heed thereuntil, this is my testament. All my presumptuous pride, whether he go or ride, now or else than, my heart and courage for power and language, I give unto an man. Let him keep of my pride what he will, the rest divide among his whole guard withal. And when they have it all, what will they do? Advise them afterward. If pride have a fall, let them be content withal, as I am now. For as for pride lasteth but tide, I assure you. If to it long shame, let them a God's name take them both. For as I fear me, so must it needs be they never so loath.
And I, Adulation, of the same fashion at this time present, to record every man, give unto a man, by this my testament, all my subtlety and forged fidelity, to him and his espies. I wot they will it use, true men to confuse, and that craftily. And if they do, indeed, I pray God they may speed, even as honestly, as he that from Staling goeth to St. Thomas watering in his young age. So they from pitter-patter may come to titter-tatter, even the same pilgrimage.
And I, Ambition, had a commission by force of a bull to get what I could, but not what I would, neither of lamb nor wool. The bull nor the calf could please the one half of my fervent desire. Whatever I thought, by gad, there was I would have had when I was never thee near. Therefore all my ambition, together in a commission, under my steel, I give it to Aman, to the intent that Satan may love him well. And while he is here, he may still desire, and yet never the near. Sometime to be, and when he goeth hence, he may with him dispense by a large faculty. That for his sins 7, he may come or he come to heaven without board or game. Sometime or tide he may, for his pride, suffer some shame.
Now by Wade's mill, every man's will is wondrous well.
And by my halidom, I ween it be wisdom, for folk often chat how men die in estate, but so shall not we.
No, by St. Anne, and yet my lord Aman never the better shall be.
No force, so God me save. If we our will might have, we would he should never thee. Now is made our testament. I pray you be content, some mirth to devise.
Let us begin with singing and conclude with drinking. It is the new guide.
Then let us sing a song that will last even as long as hence to the tavern door.
Most noble prince, and of highest wisdom, I do not doubt of your consideration, but that you know what I have been, eke what I am, both in will and words and occupation, of assured thought without adulation, and as glad to do service unto your grace as ever I was to live any time or space. And for that same great malice I do sustain both of your nobles and communality to great grievance and marvelous pain. And eke further, I fear the jeopardy of my life, goodness, credence, and honesty to cease their malice, unless you put in your power royal. I cannot long endure the slanderous reports, the lies that be made, the feigned distractions and contumelious, the rhymes, the railings so far set abroad, both painted and printed in most shameful wise, and God to record all is but leasings and lies, was never made on man like as is on me, only for appliement of law and equity. Insomuch that of late now, indeed, before all the commons upon mine and me, most damnable reports were set abroad to my dishonor and shameful villainy. And all that were there of that company, as I might see by their countenance and voice, that same aloud and greatly did rejoice. Wherefore, noble prince, I beseech your grace, let me be removed another to have my place.
Aman, we heard with deliberation uttered, and pronounced by language clean a very elegant and prudent oration of you, as ever tofore was seen, by whose tenor we know what ye mean, and have ye no doubt so shall we for you provide that your enemies shall damage you on no side. We know right well the lords envious to be one against another for fee and office, but that to regard in no wise need ye, as long as ye observe truth and justice, from the which we would that in no wise ye should digress. For if ye do indeed your own destruction, shortly ye shall breed. But for your comfort, hark what I shall tell. And for more assistance in this that ye do fear, we make you lieutenant to rule Israel. Take here these robes. See ye do them wear, eke this golden wand in your hand, to bear a token of honour and of estate royal. God send you continuance, and well to do withal.
Noble prince, according as I am bound, I will do your service till death me confound.
For a season we will to our solace into our orchard or some other place.
A proverb, as men say, a dog hath a day whensoever that it chance, that he will drink wine, and hath never wine must send or go to France. And if he do not, endure he cannot, he must needs shrink. Shrink, yea, say that again, for it is a great pain to be without drink. In such case am I swear by God's pity, I lack both drink and meat. But as I say, a dog hath a day, for now I trust to get. My time is come for to get some. If I be not let, it is the common word, Aman is the Lord, and Aman is of price, and hath purdy all this country at his rule and device, and I trust to be one of his yeomanry to wear his badge and mark, an office I would bear, and naught it elsewhere, but the keeper of his park.
Meseems ye are not fit.
Ye ween I lack wit, it may be so well, yet a fool, when it doth hap, may sometime chance to stop a gap when wise men will not melt.
Fools largely will board and tell all their thought.
And wise men will not speak one word till all become naught.
Fools will tell all, and that troubleth sore.
And wise men will say naught till it all be gone and more.
Fools to idleness always be pressed.
And wise men use such business, it were better they were at rest.
Fools let the reformation of common weal.
And wise men be so full of imagination, they wot not how they deal.
Wise men would do right, and fools say nay.
And fools be fain to fight when wise men run away.
Fools spend all till they have not.
And wise men carry all till they dare no more crave.
Ye are a fool, ye do but clatter.
Many go to school till they can flatter.
Leave your clatter, lest ye come tardy.
It makes no matter, for my name is Hardydardy.
Is your name Hardydardy?
Yeah, that is it, verily. I would, if it please ye, be one of your yeomanry.
As for that, let it pass. We take you for our solace, and mirth sometime to can.
Ween, by God's grace, one fool in a place doth well among wise men. Ye must needs laugh among, and if a fool sing a song, I hold you then a groat. Some wise man must be fain sometime to take the pain to do on a fool's coat, and then perchance it is not ready.
Well, ye can speak merrily wherewith I am content. Sirs, tarry you a season, see that far ye not walk. I will to the king secretly to talk. Most victorious prince, and of highest honor, primate of the world and president-in-chief, by whose wisdom and politic demeanor, all the world at this day takes relief, both king, page, and lord, yea, in sentence brief. No realm nor region able were to stand, unless your counsel with them be at hand. Who compelleth lord to maintain their nobility? Who learneth knights their feats martial? Or who religion subdueth to humility? Who have crafts and laborers the world over all, in civil city or village royal, compelleth each man to his order and place, but only the wisdom and policy of your grace. Your strength defendeth, your wisdom saveth all, your plenty relieveth almost every man. Such is your honor and order royal that none other council at this day can reach nor attain to know how or when, like good order or honorable guise, as you by wisdom daily do devise. So is it your grace from very base parage and poor estate me to high honor have brought, for none my virtues nor wisdom sage, but only your goodness have made me of naught. God is my judge, it is therefore my thought, and daily study above all worldly treasure, that thing to do that is your will and pleasure. And if it please your grace, therefore, to hear one thing, as I shall make rehearsal, when I have said, I think it shall appear to your pleasure and profit substantial. And to be plain, this is it, first of all. A great number of Jews within this realm do dwell, a people not good, nor for your commonweal. They be dispersed over all your province, within themselves dwelling, dissevered from our nation. By their new laws, they think to convince and eke draw unto their conversation, and unto their ceremonies and faction of our people as many as may be, intending to subdue all gentility. Moreover, the precepts of your law, they refuse and have in great contempt. They will in no wise live under awe of any prince, but they will be exempt, whereby good order may soon be interrupt. And occasion is, as I do fear me, your subjects to rebel in hope of like liberty. And your grace knoweth it is expedient their malice to increase thus by sufferance. For by that may chance great inconvenience, and to all your realm inopportune perturbance, for their possessions be of substance so great and so large that I fear at the length they will attempt to subdue you by strength. My counsel, therefore, to avoid jeopardy, is that your grace by your power royal shall give sentence and plainly decree to slay these Jews in your realm over all, and none to escape. Let your sentence be general. Ye shall by that win, to say I dare be bold, to your treasure 10,000 pounds of gold.
My lord Aman, we have heard right well all your oration, which is so elegant and so well touched that needs we must feel and perceive your mind, your words be so pregnant. And as touching the Jews, which be so valiant both of good and great possession, we do agree unto their suppression. We right well perceive that unto them draw much of our people and gentle nation, which to our honour and also to our law must needs be a great derogation, a mean to bring all out of fashion, to quench them. Therefore we be contented well, in token whereof hold here our ring and seal.
Of your sentence there shall not lack one clause, but all shall be done, and that without pause. The pursuivants call to us shortly.
If it like you, we are here.
These letters devised, we would ye should apply, to bear forth, and that diligently with as much haste as may be, to the rulers of every town and city, straitly commanding them all that they may, the same to execute at their prefixed day.
To his high pleasure we shall make us pressed, and till it be done, we will take no rest.
We be glad we have attained our purpose. I trust it shall abate the high courage of Mardocheus, and eke all those that be his clients bring to repentance.
Marry, sir, they be like to take penance. It would grieve any man, young or old of age, without his head to go on pilgrimage.
They have deserved it, and they shall have it. It is for them according.
If I should bewray that, some men do say, it were mad boarding.
Say what ye list.
So would I, if I wished you would not angry.
Ye have liberty, as ye please it be, to stand or tumble.
Men say, indeed, ye shall lose your head, and that would make you stumble.
Why so?
They say it is convenient, should be fulfilled the testament of ambition, adulation, and pride. They gave you all their pride and flattering, and after that St. Thomas watering, there to rest a tide. And men think at host, With them was the Holy Ghost. Their testament was made so holily, wherefore all that they said and cannot be take or said, but as a prophecy.
Well, ye are verily disposed merrily. Now for to talk, and I am surely minded secretly for my solace to walk.
O Lord, what a thing is credulity when to it is annexed covetise and pride. It destroyeth both town and country, equal regions on every side. All is for him too little, his mouth is so wide. His rigor ravenous spares not to spill both man and child to have his own will. This ravenous wolf Aman, I do mean, that hath persuaded the king to kill and slay, and from all this province to avoid clean all men and women and children that be Jews born and of the Jews' consanguinity. The precept is set up men to remember, and it shall be executed the 13th day of December. Alas, that ever should fortune such rage from so cankered a caitiff proceed. It is his mind, my head I lay to gauge, all those to slay. I assure you indeed that will not by flattery his presumptions feed. He would be glorified above creatures all, and yet I trust, as Lucifer deep, he shall fall.
The Mantuans thought it a great punishment to be prescribed from their goods and land, as reciteth Virgil, that poet eloquent. Much more is our pain, ye may understand, that shall lose our lives, unless God take in hand us to deliver, or else me not can avoid the murder of this carnifex, Aman.
He shall by this murder our goods win, and himself enlarge his pride to advance. And when he hath all, he shall be new to begin, evermore to get by some other chance.
Yes, at the last all shall come to mischance, for both him and his God shall make tame, and for their pride and pillage send them worldly shame.
Mardocheus, with your company we have heard your lamentation, to our grief and displeasure verily, yet we trust by meek supplication, first unto God by humble oration, and then to the king by desire cordial, a mean to find for to safeguard ye all. Call in the chapel to the intent they may, sing some holy hymn to speed us this day. After this prayer and our former abstinence, to the good Lord I call for comfort, to inspire the prince and his mind in sense, that I may obtain now at my resort, to redeem the Jews, all the whole sort, eke to disclose the falsehood, fable, and fraud of this cruel Aman, to thy praise and laud.
O Godly Hester, our most noble queen, of personage peerless, and in wisdom alone, in courage and countenance none like is seen, so discreet in dalliance was never none. Where is your comfort? Care can be none. Lo, here our wand, approach near to this place, that we may kiss you, and in our arms embrace. What ask you, lady? What do you demand? Half our realm is yours, if ye command.
Noble prince and our spouse most dear, since that to ask ye have given me liberty, I beseech your grace with my heart most entire, that it may please you this day to dine with me. Eke my lord Aman I would be glad to see at the same banquet for to take repast.
Call us in, Aman, that we may go in haste.
I am here, ready to attend upon your grace.
Then let us go, while we have time and space. Lady Hester, our most beloved queen. So pure and so exquisite is this repast, both of wine and meat, that no better may be your mirth eke, and manners so pleasant to a taste, that For to depart we make no manner haste. Eke our presence we know is to your pleasure far better than gold or any worldly treasure. Wherefore, as we said, we would ye should demand, and at your pleasure your petition make, the 1/2 of our realm, if ye'd command. We shall with depart only for your sake, and of it to you a plain surrender make. And the more ye ask with loving intent, the more we shall give, and the better be content.
Noble Prince, your high magnificence, your bounty and especial grace, so oft and so kindly doth incense, to make request some profit to purchase, so that longer delay were in me great trespass, and by that also your grace might right well may think it, that finally your love unto my heart did sink. Wherefore this favour, since I have obtained of your grace to have any my request. This I do ask with true heart unfeigned, and with charity of all virtues best, that through all your realm, both east and west, as many as be of the Jewish nation, your grace will them pardon at my supplication, assuring you I am of that nation. Born and eat bread in Jerusalem, yet I and all they by one condemnation to death are determined through all this realm. No remedy, lest your pardon us redeem. We would rather we might be sold to bondage than thus to perish by fury and outrage.
What is he, or what is his authority that is so bold this act to attempt?
It is Aman that by cruel envy is our mortal enemy and would us interrupt, that our life and goods from us were adempt. Then would he rule all, and if he might, to all get, and all should not suffice, so high his heart is set. His pomp and his pride so much is, indeed, that if he had all, it could him not suffice. At this time his treasure yours doth exceed, and yet content is he in no wise, but to get more daily he doth devise. The commons he extorteth, till they be lame. He takes the profit, and ye bear the name. But better it were that he should suffer pain, than thus by craft your honour to disdain. By his false leasings he putteth other in blame, deluding your grace when he lists to feign. And no man so worthy for to suffer pain as he himself, that does by his poison and gall, hath deceived you and eke your commons all.
He signified unto me that the Jews did not feed the poor by hospitality. Their possessions, he said, were all but hid among themselves, living voluptuously, thinking the same might be, verily much better employed for the commonweal, where now it little profiteth or never a deal.
Noble Prince, as for hospitality of the Jews dwelling in your region, it is with them as always hath been, since the beginning of their possession, which God to them gave, of his mere motion, eke great knowledge, both of cattle and of grain, that none to them like household could maintain. Is not of Abraham the hospitality in scripture noted and of noble fame, but one honouring when he received 3, the Trinity figured in the same. Both Isaac and Jacob had a like name, of whom the 12 tribes descended be, whichever did maintain hospitality. Since God, therefore, hath begun their household, and hath preserved their hospitality, I advise no man to be so bold, the same to dissolve, whatsoever he be. Let God alone, for he shall orderly, a fine ad finem, both here and there, omnia disponere suaviter.
Oh, caitiff, most crafty! Oh, false dissembler! With thy flattering tongue thou hast deceived me. All noble princes by me may beware whom they shall trust and put in authority. eke whom they shall promote to riches and dignity. We shall teach thee good for thine ingratitude, and by thee all other their prince to delude.
O Lady Hester, most noble princess of thine order and goodness sovereign, extend to me that pity, or else doubtless to death I am dressed in mortal pain. I wot I have deserved it for certain, and against thee my offence is great. Wherefore I dare thy goodness entreat, but truth is, the merit of this is better, and God it more accepteth 1,000-fold against whom the offence is greater. And of them that of injury could not tell me, wherefore to speak somewhat it makes me bold, to increase thy merit and reward heavenly. Save my life, and I thy servant shall be.
Aman, this matter so heinous is indeed, that of our honour we will neither speak nor speed.
Alas, then am I utterly marred. I must straight die. It cannot be deferred.
O thou caitiff! Canst thou not be content with the mischief by thee done before, but the queen will to press, we being present? What need we call for evidence more? Make him sure and fast, and thereto bind him sore. He will that our council shortly devise how we shall bestow him according to justice.
There is in the house of this traitor Aman a pair of gallows of 50 cubits high. Upon them he had thought, either now or then, to have caused Mardocheus to die.
Lead him thence, and upon them by and by see that ye hang him, and so stop his breath. Without favour, see he suffer death.
Other folks be tardy as well as Hardydardy by this reckoning. Ah, sir, beside bells, bacon, and somewhat else, must needs have hanging.
Hanging do serve when they that deserve are false traitors.
And it comes to lots of herrings and sprots, which be no traitors to hang in the smoke till they change their cloak from white to red.
But such do no wrong, wherefore they do not hang until they be dead.
He speaks somewhat like, for it toucheth the quick to be hanged in good heel.
Yet none need to care, that is wise and ware, and truly will deal.
Have ye not read of Naso Ovid, that eloquent poet, nor Valerie, which tells merrily the proper feats, how the smith Perillus, like Tutavillus, make a bull of brass? He had thought, I wish, to have pleased King Valaris, but yet he did much worse.
Why so?
I ween, by God, he made a rod for his own arse. Valaris could not get within the bull to shed. Lo, here begins the game. Wherefore, indeed, he took for need, perilous maker of the same, he did him turn, and made the fire to burn and greatly to increase. He cast him in such heat and eke in such sweat, he fried him in his grease.
What mean you by this?
I will tell you by this, my whole intention. I mean, my master is the first taster of his own invention. The Gaul house he made both high and broad. For Mardocheus he then meant, and now he is fain himself for certain to play the first pageant.
He that deserves pain is worthy, certain, even for to have it.
Therefore, God send all those that will steal men's clothes, that once they may go naked.
If it please your grace, this traitor Aman we have put to death as was your commandment.
Then shall we straight, as well as we can, bestow his goods, for he made no testament. Lady Hester, this is our intent, the house of Aman, with all his treasure, we give it to you. Do with all your pleasure.
I thank your grace with heart entire. Now dare I be bold to show you the plainness of my mind, since Mardocheus is here. If it please your grace, the truth is, doubtless, albeit or now I did it not confess, this Mardocheus is, for certain, my father's brother, no longer I will it lean. A gentleman he is, for lineally, he is born of the stock of Benjaminy.
We be right glad we know his lineage. His truth to us before was known well. We will him advance according to his parage. Hold, Mardocheus, here is our ring and seal. It is our trust ye will with justice deal. We commit therefore unto your wise discretion of all this province, judgment and correction.
I thank your grace, trusting ye shall not hear in all things, but as justice doth require.
Noble prince and our spouse most dear, I beseech your grace at my supplication, the precept your grace sent at Aman's desire, against me and all the Jewish nation, may be revoked, and upon convocation, anew devised by them that can do best, and that sent forth to set the Jews at rest. Moreover, let the realm be perused by them that be of your high council, and if any have the law abused, of all the Jews within your commonweal, let them not spare correction to deal, and straitly constrain themselves to address, to observe that law God give them by Moses. The Jews be the people of God elected, and wear his badge of circumcision. The daily prayer of that whole sect, as the Psalms of David by ghostly inspiration, eke holy ceremonies of God's provision. To God is available, but nothing greater, and all the whole realm for them fares the better.
Stand ye up, lady, and approach ye near. Your petition we grant it gladly.
Then, if it please your grace to hear, this epistle is made to the sealing ready.
Let it be read, that it may by and by be sealed and consigned and so forth, sent, and then, I trust, ye shall be content.
We, Ahasuerus, king and high regent from India to Ethiopia plain, send greeting and straight commandment to all the heads and rulers certain, willing they should, upon a great pain, in 100 provinces and 27, all men compel to this our decree. Although it be so, our precepts that be sent be of diverse nature and plain repugnant. When ye know our mind, ye shall be content to think it no lightness nor wit inconstant, but the necessity of times variant, and as cause requireth for the utility of our whole realm, heeds and commonality. And to the intent ye may know our plain mind, the son of Amadathi called Aman, a Macedon born and like to their own kind, not of our nation, as all men tell can, which by his subtlety both now and then, our gentleness so infecteth for certain, that near we were like all Jews to have slain. We favoured him, that he was called our father, and all men did to him honour. But his heart with pride so strongly was walled, that by his slight and crafty demeanour, had we not espied his subtle behaviour, he would have destroyed Queen Hester, our wife, and from us at the length have taken our life. But as for the Jews, we found them innocent, and without all blame, though to death they were dith. Wherefore Aman, we thought it convenient to hang him till the death, according to right, within Susis, our noble city of might. Not only our deed, nor yet their chance nor fate, but God's own justice, whatsoever they prate. This our precept and high commandment we would to all cities ye should declare. This is our purpose and very intent. The Jews to their laws themselves should prepare, duly to keep them, and not from them square, and no man to hurt them. See ye remember, as it was meant the 13th day of December. Dated at Susis, this is certain, the 4th day of December, the 3rd year of our reign.
This is well. See it be sealed anon, and that every city of them may have one. Now, madam, I trust ye be content.
Yea, and that veriment. Now may it now please you yourself to repose.
Very well. Say first, we will disclose part of our mind, which we think necessary. If it be well heard, we trust it shall edify. My lords, by this figure ye may well see the multitude hurt by the head's negligence. If to his pleasure so given is he that he will no pain take, nor diligence, who careth not for his cure, oft loseth credence. A proverb of old, sometime in usage. Few men that serve, but for their own advantage.
And yet the servants that be untrue, a while in the world their life may they lead. Yea, their wealth and worship daily renew, but at the length, I assure you indeed, their favil and falsehood will come a breed, which shall be to them more bitter than gall. The higher they climb, the deeper they fall.
Let us then cease this convocation, and this time dissolve this congregation.
That like as here they have lived devoutly, so God grant them in heaven to live eternally.
To the which we commit all this company.
And they all lived happily ever after. Well done, everyone. So yes, we've come to the end of this particular moral interlude. Doing all sorts of interesting work. It dances between various sort of plot threads and areas. We have this sort of interlude in the middle of the interlude with pride and adulation and ambition, which on some level is to split up the action so that Aman can exit and then come back on again and time passes, but is also doing all sorts of performative stuff. Questions in the chat about how much music, how much dance, how much stuff is going on in there. And we've got music throughout this, which obviously we haven't done in this session. We have also more formal music later on, as well as the then later disputation, which is what drops Aman finally in it, as Hester makes positive defence against his actions there. And of course we also have Hardydardy, who so much fun, and a hanging, and because of the nature of the way this is staged, in the sense that nobody really exits, they sort of just go to a different area. It's part of me wondering, is there a hanging literally happening over there while Hardydardy's doing a stand-up routine with chatting with the king? I think that probably is. They probably mention it in the stage direction somewhere if that was actually happening. But there's part of me wondering if I was doing it, whether that's an extreme that we might put in there. I don't know. Thoughts from the room about that? It's not one that I think many people in this room's done before, so it's very much coming to everyone in the room very much as a first look. So yeah, and it's also going back further in time than a lot of you have done as well. It's not quite in the same meter and tenor that you're used to. There's a lot of archaic words popping about to confuse you. Briony.
Yeah, I found it really pleasant to read, just in terms of the meter, especially for such an old script, because sometimes they can get quite difficult, and because the words have slightly changed, it doesn't rhyme correctly anymore and things like that. Whereas this, it wasn't rhyming constantly, but it didn't feel like it needed to, and it was just, certainly my part, I found quite pleasant.
Yeah, it's sitting in quite a nice place actually texturally. I'm fond of it. I gave a date earlier. I said about 1525. Having actually sat down and had a quick look through a few books, a possible alternative date is 1529, if we're following any sort of internal political resonances that this text is trying to deliberately flag up. Opinion varies on that, but 1529 is a good shout. But we can just ignore all that if we want to. It depends on your particular wishes or issues. Other thoughts in the room? Who wants to leap in? Lynn?
Yeah, the idea that ambition and pride and adulation / flattery, I'm taking it, are kind of an interlude in the middle of an interlude. That's a helpful take for me, because listening to the first look and doing this, even though the verse form shifts, which I think is important, it just was a little jarring to me that we switch from something that's pretty representational to allegory, and then back again. It was like we're in a different style here. What? But yeah. So I think that break into a different kind of drama needs to be underscored somehow.
Yeah, especially as that's the section where, if you're looking for political comment, that's where it's coming out in spades. I mean, the whole of it is, it's about monastic abuses and abuse of the clergy and issues that are very much the issue of the day, in specific and also very general terms. You'll get this in lots of other plays around it. So it's almost like you have a little moment of satire in what is otherwise a relatively straight-back drama, which may have other resonances, but this is the point where you're really hammering it home, people. This is the bit you update every year. Briony, then Alan.
Yeah, I just feel like I should add, as much as I enjoyed the form of this, the content was difficult for me. Misogyny, which is why I was focusing on the form of it, because she's all this oh Lord and supplication, and that's not my thing, but at least the verse is nice.
Alan.
Yeah, I must admit, I think we looked previously with either in this form or in some of the other stuff that you and I have been involved in, Robert, stuff from maybe even a century earlier than this, with the sort of the vice and allegorical characters in discussion, and that sort of play within a play bit of it reminded me very much of much earlier material.
Well, no, we're pretty much bang in the middle of when this kind of material happens. I mean, it does exist. We have got evidence of this kind of stuff existing for many centuries before, but within an interlude, this is it's still bang on. It's still bang on. But yeah, absolutely, it's all there. Elizabeth, I think, was waving, and then Rachel.
Yeah, just briefly to say, I totally agree with everything Lynn said. I was like, she really helped me articulate stuff that I was thinking about the text, but wasn't sure how to say. I really like the internal rhyming. I haven't seen anything like that before, where the rhymes kind of go inside the lines. I thought that was quite interesting. I understood the narrative finished, but I didn't really want the play to end. I don't know what more the playwright could have put, because the story of Esther is, that is the story. But I think that Aman's death, I don't know, could Aman's death have been more closely on stage instead of have it happening off stage somewhere for us to find out? Because they talk about this gallows that he created, which is like 50 cubits tall. And the king declares that he should be hung upon those same gallows. And I thought that was, that poetic justice from the Bible is quite heavy. It's quite, and I think the play kind of irons over, Aman's attempt to kind of eradicate the Jews. It's kind of like, oh, but it's all fine now. Hester sorted it out. There's nothing to worry about. But I think, as Briony said, that idea is really extreme, and it's, I think it's done very well in the play.
Yeah, I mean, yes, that whole thing about the hanging, says go off and hang him, and they exit, and it's just King and Hardydardy vamp for a bit while the hanging happens, so yeah, I say I'd probably put it on stage in a separate area while they're having that chat, but I don't know if the original would have gone that far, but hey, why not? Rachel.
I was just going to say, I mean, there was comments in the chat about what it might have been commenting on in terms of the contemporary politics. It's also on the face of it a sort of anti-Semitism play, and I know nothing about the period, but that just strikes me as slightly odd, given that, to the best of my knowledge, Jews had been expelled from England and Wales a couple of centuries before and weren't really back. And so I'm wondering, I don't know what this sort of play means in that context.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's in a sense there's no skin in the game for them to be pushing either way. I mean, we still have mystery drama at the time, which is still peddling a fair amount of hate all over. So I don't know whether it's just simply it is an appropriate group which has some sort of resonance with an alternative group from and that's a substitution proxy thing for whatever the playwright is trying to get at. I genuinely don't know. Lynn?
Well, because I'm trying to remember learning about the biblical exegesis from grad school, but yeah, there were ways of reading the Old Testament as a kind of allegory or foreshadowing of New Testament events, you know, that Jonah's 3 days in the whale prefigures Jesus' 3 days in hell and so forth. So you in certain stories where the Jews are being persecuted, the Jews are stand in for Christians. So when there's conflict between the Persians or the Babylonians or whoever and the Jews are the good guys in medieval and early modern Old Testament interpretation.
And yes, and the story does dance around a little bit in terms of its narrative. You know, where this question of the Jewish population is, you know, comes up very late and sort of out of nowhere. Whereas earlier we have the sort of pageant wife choosing the sort of material, which thoughts from the room. Aliki?
I don't really have that much to say. It's just that it's an odd marriage between kind of a discussion of the virtues of kingship and the pitfalls of delegating power, and the whole kind of mystery play bit, the hardy-dardy clowning, the anti-Semitism. I like that term. I don't quite know how it fits together. It fit nicely, although in playing the king, I really had trouble talking to Hardydardy. I was suddenly in a very different mode. It's like he was in a different joke from me. And I'm like, what? What do you mean?
Well, I thought Dan did that line very nicely of just, you are who? That's a name?
But I also enjoyed the kind of odd marriage of time and place. Like, you know, here we are in biblical Persia, but obviously if you're going to go to war, you're going to go to war with Scotland or France, because that's who one goes to war with.
And he talks about Virgil. Like I'm not sure Latin was even a thing. And when the Latin language may not have existed when this story was first written down. Okay.
Alan?
You've also got at least one reference to the Trinity in there. You know, it's the usual timeline in these sorts of plays is variable, not to say drug influenced.
Well, it sort of fits in with the way it seems to be staged as well, in the sense that everything's happening. It's sort of this Dogville approach of everything's laid out and happening at the same time, and the action is just where you're focusing in on, or where the main action is. Which is, and you know, the script has all these sort of weird bits, like I have no idea where some of the stage directions go. It's like, you know, there's this direction of one of the gentlemen must answer which you will. I don't know where the question is for that response, which is why nobody did it, because I put it in bold of just basically going, I don't know what to do with this bit. I don't know where it goes. I'm sure there is an answer, and it's actually probably very straightforward, and someone will be able to just go, oh, it's here. But I didn't know where it went, so I thought, well, it probably isn't that important. And then there's the question of the banquet as well. Is the banquet something that happens and is a moment, or is that something that's just happening while other things is going on, and again in a slightly separate part of the space? Aliki.
It felt saying that speech, I felt that the banquet had to have taken place in between the line where I foolishly got rid of my script on the screen. But just there's a line, and then the king says, "Oh, what a great banquet that was, and now we're not going to leave yet. We're just going to hang around and enjoy your company." It feels as if the banquet has to have happened in there, which also suggests, I think, that you could hang Aman, somewhere else.
Dan.
Well, I'm guessing just if this was done on one of those pageant wagons, that the banquet would have just been set out, and this would have just been taking place. That entire scene would have just taken place right there with all of that set out there. And so not necessarily to have everyone eating and then all of a sudden start speaking again, just to basically set out the scene for it. I imagine they could have had a gibbet somewhere on there to hang Aman. They must have had death type scenes on there, although I'm not sure if they necessarily need to show it. I mean, the guy got his comeuppance as it was. If we were going to do it today, yeah, sure, we'd like to see it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it would fit in a Christmas Revels to have a hanging, but hey, why not? Yeah, and it might not be that it might be, that they just the king is just commenting on the quality of the repast rather than that they've actually sampled it. Just look at this spread, isn't it fabulous? I've got so much good stuff. Or that might be the way to spin it. It might be that it's part of the overall event, and actually they have a massive break and they all sit down and have a course. In the same way that some of the music cues might actually be much more elaborate, and there might be more breaks in this as a flow of a text that we just don't have in the text we have. Eric, I think you're all waving.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I just enjoyed the connection between like, hey, let's hang someone, and hey, herring, smoked herring, we can have food now. It was just like a bit disturbing to read that. I mean, because, going from comedy, like sort of, oh yes, I would like to work for you to get wine and drink and stuff. I mean, sorry, food and drink. And then, to, yeah, food, hanging, food. It's kind of a weird shift as a clown character. I don't know if it's just supposed to relieve, to keep the groundlings awake or something, but it's just a bit weird to have it in there.
And it's that question we always come back to of how would we stage something like this today. Context, I think, is quite important to this one. It is one of those texts where I'm sort of going, well, you put it within a banquet context, and you invite the audience to dress up. I think you could create some sort of adaptation that does something with it. But I'm not sure what that is, and I'm not sure what its purpose is for a modern audience. It's always a bit of a problem with interludes of how you actually present them and what you are presenting, and how much of it is saying, well, this is a story, it functions, and how much of this is specifically talking to its time, and we actually try to explicate some kind of context for it. I mean, opinions vary as to what it's specifically referencing, but you could make a choice and set the audience up for that setup. So is it really about Wolsey? Is Hester? Pretty much probably is. Looking at my notes from the first log, I've just got massive notes in the side. Next to Hester, going Catherine, and things like that. It's probably Catherine Helen. It really is.
Didn't strike me that way at all. And when you said 29, I went, yep, that makes sense. I really, really don't see it as Queen Catherine. But I mean, other people. This is the first time I've ever seen the play, so I'm hardly in a position to make a profound statement on it, but I'm not yet convinced of Catherine. I'm going for Anne Boleyn.
Yeah, we see the play would have to be more specifically Protestant in its thinking, which I don't think it actually is. It's anti-Wolsey and it's against certain abuses of the clergy, but that doesn't automatically mean it's got an evangelical bent to it. I don't think it's there. I think that but I could be wrong on that point.
Yeah, as I say, it's a first look for me. I spotted, but about not very far in, I was saying, "Oh, it's Anne Boleyn." Never occurred to me it could be Catherine, but there's no reason I can be right because it's a bit early for me.
Well, it's the other element is, of course, it could be a text that gets adjusted over time. That whole section with pride, ambition, and adulation feels like something that could have been inserted at a slightly later date as something that was a bit more up to date. I was saying with Panto, this is where you put the topical gags in here, because that sequence is very, very full of stuff. Though, of course, a lot of that is quite generalised stuff. Actually, I don't know how specific it is. Again, it's a kind of madness playing this game. By the way, we could go deep down. That dive. So just on the character of Hester herself, and Briony brought up that question of about the story that this play is telling and how comfortable people are with that. I mean, in a sense, the anti-Semitic section is in many ways the element you look in advance going, oh, this could be really problematic, is actually potentially the least problematic element of the text, depending on your point of view. Thoughts on Hester? Are there any? Has anyone got any thoughts on Hester? Elizabeth.
Yeah, this is kind of a circumspect look at Hester. When the Pursuivants turn up, they bring a lot of women to the king to be chosen as the bride, but Hester is the only one that we really hear about. I just thought that was interesting because I'm not sure about it in the Bible, but in the Bible I remember it being like a really long-winded thing that they washed them. Oh, is that Calcifer on the screen? Yeah, scrolling across there.
Attack.
They like washed them in oils and they bathed them and they had to do all this stuff. And the play kind of just glosses over that. It's almost as though her patronym, her name is so big that it kind of takes over all of that action.
I mean, we've only got a stage direction there. Here entereth Pursuivant with many maidens. So we've got a visual thing going on there. I mean, it's
wasn't that Mordecai? Wasn't that Mordecai, the Pursuivant in the Bible?
I think Mordecai was what was the character? Her uncle, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, it was the uncle.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had built for Mordecai.
For Mordecai, that's
yeah. But so Mardocheus is the character name here. So yes, we've got this presentation here. I mean, it doesn't go audition on us, so which might have been an option. Aliki.
The king's speech just basically says she's the prettiest, and also that maybe she's the oldest, which you shudder to think what age the others were. So he lucked out, the king, that he got somebody clever and good to him who was also lucky. It was also gorgeous, because he just picked her for gorgeous. I don't know about kind of the character. I mean, the trouble with virtuous women in kind of almost all, even modern day dramas, is that they're very, very boring because they just do whatever the men in their lives want them to do. Or one man or the other, and you're not really going to unproblematize that without thinking very carefully, and you can't throw out 90% of drama for it.
Well, you can. I mean, history by and large has done that for us. Helen.
Yeah, I mean, the biblical story of Esther is in fact an extremely heroic and wonderful story of, I mean, she takes enormous risks. She puts her life on the line in order to bring the king news that he doesn't want. And she does it by going to him when she hasn't been sent for, which is not allowed. And it is it's a story that I remember being told as a very small child, that there was this absolutely appalling man, and she got him hanged and it was retribution. Go and do thou likewise, sort of thing, was the message that I got from my mother. But I found that there was a lot less anti-Semitism. I mean, the earlier the play, and until quite late, we've got used to having big, horrible, indigestible chunks of anti-Semitism thrown at us for quite often no apparent reason.
Right.
But it was integral to this story that Aman was anti-Semitic. And I don't see that it's in any way a problem in this story.
Well, say because Hester stands up and I mean, the king gets no comeback. I feel the king should, for going, yeah, okay, I mean, that sounds like a perfectly sane and sensible policy proposal you've given me there. There's almost no pushback on that at all. I mean, again, it's the episodic nature of it is that you could almost detach that entire second half, second third of the play and play as a separate unit, actually, of just of that action. That might be another way of looking at the ways and means to repurpose some of this in the future. Any other final thoughts in the room? I'm not going to go around everybody. Just if anyone has additional thoughts they want to throw in now, speak now, or forever hold your peace.
Yeah, I wonder if there is some
Lynn.
Protestant influence in the writer's mind, because during the Reformation there were certain, at least, schools of thought or currents of thought in Reformation thinking that was much more favorably disposed towards Jews. Even today, there are Protestant denominations who think the only people going to heaven is our denomination and Jewish people because they are still God's chosen. So I wonder if that's part of what's going on, is that there's certain strains of Protestant thought that were much more favorably disposed towards Jewish people than Catholics had historically been. I don't know.
It's a thought. Dan?
This is actually really off the subject, so I can hold it, but it's more of a textual one.
Go for it.
Just because it's one of these types of plays from the, we're talking the 1520s, and we only have the one printing of it. It is one of those, and it had been remarked on earlier, the interior rhyming, where you're going to have those midline caesurae, and also there's a number of speeches that are marked out by indentations or by line breaks or whatnot. And I think it really helps when those are still kept or maintained from the printing, because then you can really know when you are beginning a new speech unit or know when a rhyme might come. So anyway, and I think those are always integral to whenever we're reading, I guess, these early miracle plays or these pageant play interludes.
Any other thoughts? Remember that this is a second look, so there are fewer. That you can talk about anything you like in relation to the play. Almost everything.
Does Reed have anything to say about it?
Off the top of my head, no.
No, because it would be extraordinarily interesting to know if there was any performance history at all.
I don't think we don't know when it was. I mean, with the dating range for this is the better part of a decade. So the only thing I've read in detail on this comes from Professor Greg Walker's Plays of Persuasion, a tome I can recommend on this. Greg Walker's very good on Tudor court politics in connection with drama.
Right.
But I'm sure there are other writers out there and other opinions that do exist that might be out there. That's basically what I was flicking through while you were all acting. Try to remember things that I haven't read for a while. Okay, in that case, I'm going to close the session. Thanks to all these wonderful readers for all their wonderful reading. Thank you very much, and goodbye.
Bye.
Hardydardy.